Alright, you guys. Now, this might seem like a broken record because, holy shit, we got another very big developer update. Say what you will about behavior, whether if they make the right or wrong decisions, they've actually been rather busy. And this is one of the biggest updates I've ever seen in quite a while. Now, we got killer updates and we've got add-on updates and so many changes are being performed. I'm quite proud of this update. I really am, from what I've read. We're back with another developer update, a series of posts outlining some of the upcoming changes to Dead by Daylight. You read that title correctly, this is part 1. There's so much to cover this time around that we couldn't fit it all in one post, and the writer passed out halfway through the type of this. This is quite a lot, and this is only part 1, as you can see. Killer updates. The Trapper. Finally! Starting things off with a bang, or rather a snap. We've made a series of small changes to the Trapper. Did you know that the number of bear traps that spawn on the map is random? That's right. Each trial will spawn between 4 to 6 bear traps at random. Now you can take this interesting little fact and completely forget about it, because that's no longer how it works. Now 6 traps will always spawn, not including the traps you load and carrying. I don't know if you guys know this. I think that Zarva talked about it. That if, for example, a bear trap spawns where a hatch is supposed to be, then that bear trap is destroyed. Something like that. I think that the RNG sometimes fucks over traps and just demolishes and destroys them as the match begins. This is great. This is just an awesome change to Trapper. This takes away some of the random elements in playing Trapper and makes each match feel more consistent. Having more traps is great and all, but wouldn't it be nice to carry more than one without add-ons? We sure think so. The Trapper will now be able to carry, and start with, 2 bear traps by default. Again, they're 10 out of 10 for now. Perfect. This will help you get up and running quickly without relying on add-ons. The Trapper bag add-ons have been adjusted to repurposed accordingly. The thing is, up to this very day, I constantly felt the urge to, at the very least, play with the Trapper's Sack, the grey add-on. And I kind of felt reluctant to bring anything else because I constantly felt that at the very least, to stand a chance on IMR, I'm gonna need at least the Trapper bag. And I'm so happy that I might not need that and I can play a little bit more diverse when it comes to Trapper. Finally, on the subject of add-ons, we've added a pass on some of the least used add-ons and either increased their effects, removed their downsides, or gave them new effects entirely. The Tension Spring. If I'm not wrong, the Tension Spring was when... I'm not really good with Trapper's add-ons. Is when it took you longer to close a trap. Nobody used those add-ons that much. So they make it so that a bear trap resets 2 seconds after a survivor escapes from it. Which is a good add-on. Means you don't have to waste time resetting it. Though it means that a trap just reopened in the same spot where a survivor got caught. The chances of the same trap working twice in a row are not that high. Though it rearms itself, and that's rather nice. I would want the trap to actually rearm itself. Like 5 seconds later, so a survivor will leave the area, run away, and only then find out that the trap has in fact been reopened. Because like a survivor, if he runs away from a trap and like in 2 seconds he sees that the trap rearms itself, he knows that Trapper has the add-ons. Wait, it's a bit too obvious, so I don't know. Maybe they have to tweak the seconds here, in my opinion. Trapper Sack. All bear traps are carried at the beginning of the trial instead of spawning on the map. That is absolutely wonderful. Bear traps cannot be picked up. That is a bit stupid. I don't get that part because it's not like Trapper is insanely powerful. The fact that bear traps cannot be picked up means that you have to open the bear traps at the exact location where you put it. The odds of catching survivors constantly in the same spots is kind of low, so... I don't know. That's a weird one. It's really weird. Unless if you're certain that you're able to demolish survivors, like let's say you got, what, 6 traps at the start of the trial, so you're gonna be able to catch survivors like 6 or 7 times because of where you were gonna randomly place them. again, like I don't think behavior gets it. The chances of catching a survivor in the same spot with the same trap is very low. I hardly had to have that happen on red ranks. I don't know about the second bit though. Well, regardless, the base skill of Trapper seems very good. I give this overall 9 out of 10. This is great. The Spirit. The Spirit has been a strong killer since her release, and with that in mind, we've made some changes to aim to increase her skill ceiling, whilst also giving survivors sound counterplay. When close to Spirit's husk, survivors will not receive any indication that the Spirit is phase walking. Originally, this was intended to be a fun mind game. Is she using her power? Is she faking it? Though in practice, it often doesn't feel that way. This lack of feedback forces you to make a guess and hope it pays off, which can be great when it works out in your favor, but can be also awful when it doesn't. To add more skill into the Spirit's counterplay, we're making 2 changes. So yeah, here are the changes. Any survivor within 24 meters of the Spirit will now hear a directional phase sound. This lets you know whether or not she is phasing, and also gives you a rough idea of which direction she is coming from. The Spirit's footsteps will now kick up dust while she is phasing. Keen survivors may be able to pinpoint where she is, but tall grass and other obstacles may make it difficult. These 2 changes aim to add more skill into playing as and against the Spirit and reduce the reliance on coin flip, where you make a guess and hope it pays off. So we all know that part, ladies and gentlemen. We all know it. You drop a pallet, you camp pallet, I don't know, you keep running, you don't know what's the right choice. Spirit gave you literally no indication of what's the right thing to do because her husk gives you no information. You only know when she phase walks because you hear the phase walking sound, you don't know how close she is, where she's coming from. You have very little information in comparison to the Spirit, so it always felt unfair to go against her, especially in the 1v1, and it was very frustrating. I personally don't remember a single match where I lost the Spirit. I constantly 4K'd the very few times I have played her. Even in games where I got absolutely generous, at the very least I got like 10 hook states. I don't know, dude. Something about her didn't sit right with me. We've done a pass on some of the Spirits add-ons to bring them more in line and make lesser used add-ons more appealing. Like the Trapper, some of these changes are small tweaks while others are completely new effects. Wakizashi Saya, hopefully I'm not butchering that. The Scabbard of Ancestral Blade, once crafted for the Yamaoka family, during Yamaoka hunting, use the active ability button to return to the husk and end the haunting. This is kind of an interesting idea. A lot of times survivors run towards the Spirit husk, thinking that like the Spirit is no longer there. For example, if now I'll see like, oh no, the Spirit phase walking, I can see like the dust particles where she ran. I'm like, oh, she's after me. I'll just run towards her husk. Spirit can just press the active ability button, return to her husk, and then she slaps you. Strong add-on, I would say. Don't know if it's purple worthy, but it's good. Senko Hanabi. When the Yamaoka hunting ends, the Spirit's husk explodes, and any vault location within 4 meters are blocked for 5 seconds. Now, these 2 add-ons are kind of weird because both of them make survivors not want to go towards the Spirit husk. This because the Spirit can return there, and this will just block any and all windows, so the potential of you getting smacked just increase if you go towards her. Though sometimes it is necessary, I guess. We'll have to wait and see. This is a big freaking change. It's just not just change of numbers. This is something we're gonna have to wait and see. I can't really rate this as much as I did with Trapper. But I agree. I agree that she needed a bit more counterplay in the 1v1, and I do agree that Spirit needed a bit more skill ceiling to her. Blight and Nurse, despite how oppressive they are, they do require skill, they do require timing, they do require understanding and muscle memory. Spirit just felt a bit too easy for me. At least that's how I see it. Killer add-ons update. What does moderately mean? How much is tremendously compared to considerably? If you ever found yourself in this situation, you're not alone. We use descriptive words like these to keep descriptions simple, but they end up causing just as much confusion since it's not immediately clear how much they're doing. With that in mind, we have also done a pass on all killer add-ons to list their exact effects. We plan to extend this to the rest of the game, items, perks, etc. in the future. On top of that, the killer add-ons that apply a status effect will now have a brief description of what that status effect does. While our designers were going through the hundreds of killers add-ons one by one to update the descriptions, they also noted down a few for changes as well. There's far too many to list here, but we've changed some add-ons for the following killers: the Hillbilly, the Nurse, the Shape, the Hag, the Oni, the Blight, the Wraith, the Pig, the Ghostface. These changes focus mostly on unused add-ons or add-ons that are way too weak or powerful. Now, let's talk about some of the add-ons here. Hillbilly has a few gimmicky add-ons that don't have very good use, so I can imagine that they've changed them. The Shape and Pig have some ridiculous add-ons that don't fit with today's DBD. Shape can literally just murder someone outright, feels a bit way too much. Pig has a yellow add-on that revolves around a survivor failing skill checks and boxes. It seems a bit redundant. Skill checks is an old mechanic and has always been there. I can imagine that they tweak those too. What surprises me here is that I don't see the Legion. I know this is a bit too specific because there's 25 something killers, but Legion has also a lot of add-ons that were supposed to be tweaked. The Deep Wound Stab Study, the Frank's Mixtape. There are plenty of add-ons that need tinkering with, also on Legions. And the only thing I can hope for, the only reason they didn't write Legion here, is that hopefully that's the next killer they are going to adjust and buff and rework. But I'm getting way too ahead of myself. Let's continue with this. These changes focus mostly on... yeah. Alright, we read that actually. So I'm very happy with this. Very happy. That's very good. This add-on overhaul. Good job. Perk updates. Variety is the spice of life, and incidentally that by daylight matches too. In an ongoing effort to give you more options to choose from, we're updating a huge list of perks. Without further ado, let's run through some of them quickly. These are only some, good lord. Vigil, nice and simple. We're increasing the recovery rate from 10, 15, 20 to 20, 25, 20, 30. Wow. Additionally, Vigil will now increase the recovery rate of Broken, Exposed, and Oblivious status effects as well. Or applicable. In short, more situations where it's useful and even faster recovery too. So, Exposed, interesting. And Broken status effect. So let's say I'm affected with Haunted Grounds and I am Quentin and I'm playing with Vigil. Does that mean the Haunted Grounds will affect me for less time? I don't know how much I like that. I don't think it should have tinkered with the Exposed status effect. Oblivious and Broken, I can give them that. I got no problem with those. But Exposed, dude, there's literally perks that rely on a certain amount of timer. Like, Make Your Choice, On the Grounds. Like, dude, I don't know about that one. I don't think they should have fucked with the Exposed status effect there. 30% of a 60 second of Exposed. That's quite a lot. That's like getting rid of 20 seconds of the Exposed status effect. I don't know. I would have said that this is a good one, but the Exposed made me hesitate there. Babysitter Guardian, the perk by Steve Harrington. Another small tweak, the rescued survivor will now receive a speed boost for 4, 6, or 8 seconds to get the hell out of there, in addition to not leaving scratch marks or pools of blood. The aura reading duration is also been doubled. Or reading that the survivor that unhooked sees the killer and the killer sees him. So this will make the killer hopefully focus the rescuer rather than the rescued. But in high MMR, if the killer really wants to, he will go after the unhooked person. So I still think borrow time is superior here. But maybe now you can combine both. Then you get a boost of speed on that survivor, and you also give him like the borrow time effect. Could be nice. For the people can create some amazing moments, but the trade-off of being broken can make it very risky to justify using. We're decreasing the duration of the broken status effect from... Interesting. Now, instead of being 90 seconds broken, the best case scenario, you're going to be broken for 60 seconds. Which is nice, but like if I combine this with Vigil, now that also affects the broken status effect, I'm going to be broken for only 40 seconds after picking someone up. It can get out of hand. I don't know about that. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Though this is very situational, though. You have to carry both of these perks. And finally, the last some diversity. No unbreakable DS. Yeah, right. Hex Retribution. Previously, Hex Retribution would only make survivors oblivious if they cleanse the dull totem. Now, interacting with any kind of totem will make them oblivious. Additionally, we've increased the aura reading duration once a Hex totem is cleansed to 15 seconds rather than 10. Wow. This changes quite a lot. Because now, when the survivor cleanses a totem, he will be oblivious. And I will see everybody's aura for 15 seconds. So I will know to approach that survivor. Hopefully. I mean, I need to guess which one will destroy the totem. And while he doesn't know that I'm coming for him. Now Hex Retribution could actually work rather nicely with the Cenobite's new perk that cause people to have Oblivious. So this can prolong that Oblivious even after the totem is destroyed. I can sneak up on that survivor one last time. Sorry, I'm instantly thinking of combinations here. I'm a bit too excited about these changes. Hex Blood Favor. That's the Hex by the Blight that not a lot of people use. This perk shipped with very safe conditions, so it doesn't get too out of control. Upon reflection, we feel comfortable with removing some of these restrictions. Hex Blood Favor will no longer have a cooldown. So each time you hit a survivor near a pallet, pallets gets blocked. And will also activate upon successful special attacks as well. This literally triggered the biggest fucking red bulb in my head. This is proving to be a very strong hex. I might even use this on Legion because you stab someone with Feral Frenzy and you block pallets around the survivor that you're going to end your Feral Frenzy on. And if you are able to corral him and this pallet is blocked from a Feral Frenzy hit, you might be able to actually down that survivor. Or if you're using Blight and you nail a Blighter Rush on them, you can finish them off with a basic attack too. Interesting. I like that. I like that a lot. Hopefully it's not going to get out of hand. Well, it is a Hex after all. Third Seal. Yeah, the Hex. The first level 30 teachable by the Hag. Not a lot of people use it. Just like the above, we've added special attacks to Hex. Third Seal as well. This should make the perk more practical on killers that focus more on dealing damage with their power. Interesting. So... for the longest time, I wanted to use the third seal on Leatherface. Yeah, I down people with chainsaws and they get the blinded status effect. And then they can't see when I slug people. That'll be great. That is a massive boost to Leatherface's arsenal, I think. Like I'm thinking of all sorts of shit right now, dude. I'm so hyped. Thrill of the Hunt. Ooh. With boon perks making their way to the game, more on this soon, we decided to give Thrill the Hunt some love by extending the speed penalty from cleansing to blessing as well. So blessing, I guess, is a new action that survivors are going to have totems give them like certain buffs and abilities. So it's going to take a survivor longer to bless a totem with Thrill of the Hunt active. Interesting. Okay. I see you, Thrill the Hunt. I see you. You have... multiple functions now, I see. Item and character kill switch. Last but not least, let's talk about the game health. The item and character kill switch. With over 50 playable characters and their cosmetics, nearly 200 perks and hundreds of more add-ons and offerings in games, sometimes things do break. Yeah, we know that. We as the community know that. Rarely things will break in a way that makes them exploitable and that can make the next week or two before a fix really rough. Enter the kill switch. It's actually a lot nicer than it sounds. The kill switch allows you to disable anything that's causing an issue without needing an update. When something breaks and becomes exploitable, we switch it off until it's fixed. There is something we've been able to do with maps for a while now to great effect. I don't think that's something to pride ourselves on. Fucking Glenvale has been blocked for 200 years. Disabled items and character will clearly be marked and cannot be selected. Interesting. So things that are broken in game will not be able to be chosen. So if a character is broken a certain way or bugged out, it's blocked. If a perk is bugged out, it's blocked. Interesting. What this means to you, when one thing breaks and people start to abuse it, you won't have to play against it for a week or two until there is a fix. That's good, I guess. That's up to behavior, making the right choice. With that, we'll give you a break for reading for the day, but we're just getting started. There's a lot more to cover, so come back Monday. Okay, for part 2. Interesting. Led by the LA team. Wonder why it takes them till Monday. If they already know like when they're gonna release, they probably have all the changes. So, bruh, I've got very little complaints about this update. They buffed the correct killer. They nerfed the correct killer, in my opinion. They made ambitious changes to add-ons for many killers. Golly. Ambitious buffs to perks. Some of them make me raise an eyebrow, but again, this all can be judged only with gameplay. Reading it verbally doesn't mean much. So I just covered all this. Hopefully next Monday I will sit here with you guys and we will read some more awesome shit that's coming to the game. This is very awesome. Well, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.